Hey guys, and welcome to CPL Fever. It's your host, Jack and Andrew Murray here, and today we are joined by Club de Foot Montreal player, MLS player, Joel Waterman. And I'm super excited to have you on the show because I'm a big fan of yours, and I really want to interview you for a while, so I'm very excited that we were able to make this work.
I appreciate it, my man. That was a good intro. You said you got a little twang in there too. Club de Foot Montreal, okay. Okay. Did you practice that at all or what?
A little bit. I just wanted to make sure I got it right.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on. I've actually, like I told Jack, I've kind of seen your show and love what you guys are doing. Love your energy, love your vibe, love how you guys love football as much as I do, and I'm excited to chat to you guys.
Yeah, I love doing this and getting to meet people like you who are so passionate about football and just having an awesome conversation and getting to know more about you.
Oh, absolutely. I love conversations like this, just to talk about me and life and just whatever you guys want to talk about, fire away, and we'll get to it.
Where are you right now? Are you in Montreal?
We are in Miami right now. We are based out of Miami. So we've been here, when did we leave? Is it April now? I went away with the national team and I met them straight here. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So we've been here for about 2-3 weeks already. We're here till the 29th of May, basically until our international break, and then we'll kind of see what can open up in Montreal, if we can go back, or they'll make the decision if we have to stay, which it looks like we're going to have to stay, but we're just going to be playing out of Inter Miami Stadium. So it's not too bad to be kind of by the beach and in hot weather. So personally, for me, I'm not complaining, but yeah, it's been all right. It's been good.
That's good.
Cool. That sounds exciting.
Yeah. So it's been all right. We're training well. It's having some fun too, which is good.
Excellent.
Yeah, so the training's been good?
It's been very good. Yeah. We started off well too. Obviously, we got that win against Toronto in our first game, and then we just tied Nashville, which is another good team. So training's been good. We've been lively. Obviously, as you guys probably know, a lot of new faces this year. Different team, different manager. Obviously, I'll probably get to that, but we started off well. We're doing all right and trying to keep that momentum going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see you guys play because with the new faces, I'm very excited to see how you guys work out on the gelling and what the competition will be like in the rest of the MLS.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, for us, I'm pretty sure not a lot of the player pundit guys thought we were going to do very well this season, and with all the new faces and just different style altogether. But we're feeling confident. We believe in ourselves, so it's basically what we think. We've been training well and we're in good form. So, like I said, we just got to keep it going, right?
Yeah, for sure. Okay. And my first question for you is, how did you fall in love with soccer?
Yeah, so I've been playing since I was 5. My parents got me out there as soon as I can. I was an energetic kid, always bouncing off the walls, and it was kind of an outlet for my parents not to have to deal with me as much, right? So they put me in soccer, they put me in a bunch of different sports. I was always running, and started when I was 5, and my mom was actually my first soccer coach too, which was cool. And my dad and my mom both played, my sister and brother both played, so we were definitely an avid soccer family. We were at the park every Saturday morning, basically a couple times a week too, growing up, and that's where I kind of fell in love with it. My parents, like I said, both played. I was always at the pitch watching them play. I was always on the side kicking my own ball, and just fell in love with it there. And I just kept playing and playing and playing and playing, and fell in love with it more and more each day. And that's how I kind of got into it. And my parents, they always used to tell me stories about how they would win, different national titles. And, my dad wishing he went to university and had those kind of opportunities when he was growing up. And so I think it's definitely been my dream since that young of an age. I wanted to do this for a living, and now that I'm actually doing it, it's crazy to even think that I'm doing this for a living. And but that's just what I've always wanted. The kid inside me is still loving every second of it, and that's kind of how I fell in love with it.
When did you settle into soccer as the main sport? Because basically you said you did other sports before. Was there a time where you were when did you start getting serious about it?
Yeah, I would say when I was 13, I started getting serious about soccer. That's when I made the BC provincial team. So I kind of knew I was one of the best kids in BC at least. And I was also part of the National Training Center. So Then I had to pick. So my parents kind of told me I played ball, hockey, basketball, volleyball, all those different kinds of things in school. And my parents are like, hey, we only have two parents here to take you to each sport. And we got my brother and my sister, and we can't keep doing this. You got to choose one. And for me, it was a no-brainer. It was soccer all the way. And like I said, 13 was probably like, okay, like I'm one of the best kids in BC. Let's kind of see where this thing goes. And it was never really, pre-planned, or I didn't have a big goal in mind saying I'm going to do this, this, and this. Honestly, I just kept playing and playing and kept getting better, and moved to different clubs. Had to, just based on, obviously you might know a little bit of my history of Aldergrove Soccer not being the biggest club. It's a small town. Had to move to Langley and then to Surrey, and then, obviously going to university and all that other stuff that we'll talk about later. But had to make some changes because I was also getting really good, and those clubs were beginning to become too small. So I had to make those hard decisions of moving clubs and playing with higher levels and different friends and things of that nature. But 13 was when I really started to say, okay, maybe this is something I can do for life.
Wow. Okay. And what did I mean, did you have to move, or you just kind of had your parents drive further to the larger area nearby?
Yeah. So they had to take me further. So it was first Langley, which wasn't too bad. It was 15, 20 minutes every night. But then in U15, I went to Surrey. So that was 40, 45 minutes, and then we were playing HPL at the time, or BCSPL is what they called it. I think it's still around, but basically they made a brand new, Metro was the highest then, and then they made the BCSPL. So basically I had to play at the highest level I could possibly for, in my opinion, the best club at the time, which was Surrey United, winning 2 national titles in U16 and U18. So
wow.
For me, I had to make that decision. And for my parents too, we were driving, 3-4 times a week. And then obviously games would be in all sorts of places on the weekend. So it was a big commitment from them too, but they were up for it. And so I had to make those tough decisions, and we had to drive even further. But I think they knew in the back of their minds, okay, like he loves it. Let's keep doing this. But there's also something there that we'll play with, and hopefully he can keep developing at this club and have success. And I did, and then I just kept moving on, and they were with me every step of the way.
Well, that's great.
Yeah,
it really paid off. Because sometimes I know for soccer players, like I'm an entrepreneur, so it's kind of, I would assume it's similar in the sense that you build into this. You're not really sure if it's going to work, and you need to put in so much work before you can kind of get some of the benefits. So there's kind of like a leap of faith there. Would you?
Absolutely. I think that's with anything people are chasing, right? For us, it was definitely a leap of faith. It was, like I said, you could see the way I was developing. But again, there's so many footballers out there trying to become professional footballers, and it's like, okay, what's that 1%? What's going to make me get to that 1% of, okay, like this is actually going to happen? And that's exactly like you said. There's fear to it too, because I think it's more fear for my parents, to be honest, and the people that are in my village around me saying, okay, like, you really want to do this? Like, it's not really every day you hear a kid go, yeah, I want to be a professional footballer. Like, it's just, you don't hear that often because it's so, rare. But for me, I never changed focus. But yeah, the fear definitely plays a part in it. And you're never really sure if it's going to happen. And I went to school, and I really didn't take the route of, going to a D1 school or things of that nature. And my journey just took a little bit longer, I would say, and a bit more unique. Obviously, with the CPL came around when it did as well, and we'll get to that. But yeah, there's always that fear aspect, especially, I think it's that switch of, okay, growing up, my parents were always thinking, okay, go to school, get a job, work. It was more traditional, whereas people are choosing to do whatever they want now, especially with social media and I want to be a YouTube influencer. It's like, if you said that 20 years ago, your parents probably would have smacked you. You know what I mean? Mindset altogether, right?
Yeah.
But I love it. I think there's so many ways now to, one, make a living for yourself, and there's so many interests that people have that whatever you're passionate about, chase after it and kind of just see and let the chips fall where they may. And that's kind of what I was doing. I just had fun with it. I loved it. And, lucky for me, and a lot of other breaks that had to go my way too. Lucky for me, it kind of worked out.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, you're a great player. If there were no lucky breaks, then you wouldn't be where you are today, and we're so happy to like see you as a player, and you keep developing. And you were the first CPL player that went to the MLS, and that must have been a big jump. So what was that jump like?
Yeah, it was a big jump, especially with COVID happening. I don't think anyone really expected that. And looking back at it, I'm like, how did I even survive a first year where a brand new league, brand new team, a different pace, a different kind of professionalism. 5 months out of the year, you're not training, and it's like, okay, this is how my first MLS season goes. You don't know how long it's going to go on for, and that's 5 months of football I missed too, of improving and adapting and getting better, and then you have to try to adjust to the speed when you come back. And it was almost perfect, to be honest, for me personally, it was almost impossible to get that traction going again after all that time off. And but yeah, the differences are minuscule, I would say, because the CPL is such a good level too. But again, it was just adapting to the pace and just bigger, more physical players. Like I said, the speed, the decision making. I think there's a lot of things I got away with more in the CPL in terms of my decision making, in terms of my positioning, that you can't get away with in the MLS, or you get scored on. So it was just knowing those little things, but like I said, 5 months you miss those things, and it's hard to come back from those things, and especially other guys on the team felt it too. But that was a hand I was dealt, and obviously now it's a lot better because we're training week in, week out. Every day I'm getting better, learning something new, and that's what I kind of missed out on last year too, especially with fans in the stands too, and 20,000 people per game, and those are the things I dreamt about as a kid, right? Like playing in front of that many people, and people shouting at you on away games, and all that stuff that footballers love, and that's a part of the game. You miss that, and especially now with no fans, it still sucks. But yeah, it was the transition was definitely not easy. It took me a while to get going in my first couple months of preseason too. But I'm grateful for those times too, because it helped me learn so many things about myself and how I need to carry myself in those types of situations. And I also got to focus on a lot of other cool stuff outside the pitch that I was interested in. So I think for me, it's all about perspective, and you can always gain some sort of knowledge from anything you go through in life. So that was kind of the approach I took to it.
Yeah, in every situation in life, there are like little things that you can take away from it, because even failure, you can learn from that, like a lot. Like failure is one of the best things that you can learn from.
Absolutely, it's one of our best teachers. I think life would be boring if we didn't fail, to be honest. If everything was always good all the time, we would stay the same. And for me, it's from what I've seen myself, from the CPL to especially now, just in a 2-year span of where I'm at, it's crazy to see, the person I've become on the pitch, but off it as well. And how many times I've failed, and it's just about, what you do with that failure. It's inevitable. It's going to happen, but there's always a reason behind it.
So how did you get contacted about going to Montreal Impact at the time? Because you just actually signed with Cavalry for another year, right? So how did you find out about that, and what did they say?
Yeah, it was an interesting story. It was when we played the Montreal Impact in the Canadian Championship last year in the summer. I was injured, so I had a broken toe I was out for a couple months, 6-7 weeks. So I didn't actually even get to play against them, which was the funny part. So I thought, when the rumors came about, it was just rumors, right? Yeah. But I remember Mauro Biello at the time. He wasn't the manager of the Impact, but he came to one of our training sessions, and I remember him saying to me before I got injured, saying, "Oh, you're having a pretty good season, hey?" And I said, I would like to think so. Yeah, I mean, I was playing well at the time, performing well, and that's the only thing he said to me. And obviously, I knew he had connections with Montreal, and I didn't think anything of it. And then basically in my off season, I figured I'd deal with Cavalry to be back for another year, and I was happy about that. And then I see these rumors start to pop up on social media, and there's people DMing me and messaging me saying, "Are you going to Montreal? Are you going to Montreal?" And to be honest, the day I found out, I think I was taking a nap, and I woke up to these messages and emails, and I said, "What's going on here?" Right? So I went on social media and saw all this stuff, and I didn't really think anything of it. Like I said, we were in our off season, and people were on vacation, and then it died down for a couple of weeks. I said, "Oh, it was just rumors." And Tommy Wheeldon got back from his vacation and gave me a call and said, "Hey, have you seen some stuff happening on social media and blah blah blah?" And I said, "Yeah. Is there any validity to it?" And he basically said, "Yeah, they've shown interest in you, and they want to sign you." And this was probably late December, early January. I was still just training in my off season back in Vancouver, and he said, let me figure it out. Let me talk to them, and we can see what we can kind of make up a deal here." And it was basically done in 2-3 days. And he said, "Yeah, they put in an offer for you. Would you obviously like to go?" And I said, "I love the Cavalry and I wanted to be back, especially the way we ended. But this was a no-brainer for me in the next step of my career and playing at the highest level." And I said, "Yes, for sure, 100%, I want to go." And at the time, I didn't have an agent either. I was kind of doing things on my own, handling deals on my own, and Tommy kind of helped me in that perspective. So it was a done deal in 2 or 3 days, and I was shipped off to Montreal basically 4 days later. And I had 4 days to wrap up my stuff and head there for preseason, because I found out I was going for sure on the 6th of January, I think, of 2020, and then I was gone by the 14th. So I had to pack up all my stuff, say my goodbyes, and I was signed 2 years in Montreal. So it was. I wanted it to happen. I don't know if it was that quick, because, like I said, I wanted to be back in Calgary. I loved it there. I loved my time there. But I wasn't, necessarily surprised, because I knew I had a really good season, and that's where I wanted to be, and I wanted to play at the higher level. And it was a long time coming for me, especially just wanting that so bad, and it kind of coming out of the blue, and then it happening so fast, and I was kind of there, and I was ready to go. So it was it was an amazing day, amazing news.
Yeah, well, that's an amazing story.
Yeah.
Now, was Mauro Biello, was he the coach at that time? Because I'm just kind of confused about the timeline, because I know you were there when Thierry Henry was there, and now he's gone.
Yeah. So sorry, Mauro Biello was at our training session in the summer in Calgary. So when we were training, he stopped by, because I think he was looking at some sort of, maybe it was some of our guys for the national team for that camp coming in January. So that was the 2019 season. So that would have been 2019 in June, July. So that's when he told me, "Oh, like, you're having a good season." I knew he had connections. He actually wasn't the manager then. I think it was Remy Gard at that time. Mauro was done. So he told me that, and then basically I kept playing my season for July, August, September, October, November, with the season ending in November when we lost to Forge in the final. And then that December, I found out about the rumors and all that stuff. And then January of 2020, I was in Montreal.
Yeah, cool. And you mentioned the multi-year deal. And so Montreal Impact, as they were when you had just signed with them, must have been really impressed. So what do you think was the biggest quality that they really liked in your game?
I think for me personally at the time, I would have to guess just my ball playing ability in the back. And now I know that for sure, obviously with Thierry being our manager. You saw the way we wanted to play, and he loves his Notre Dame center backs in terms of playing out the back. He wanted us to play basically everywhere on the pitch where it made sense. So that was, I think, for sure, especially me being a midfielder my whole life and only moving to center back in 2018 with Tommy at Foothills. I already had that mindset of passing the ball and breaking lines and doing those types of different things. So I think they saw that and said, okay, we can adapt him and make him I more of a defensive-minded player as well, because I think at the time with Cavalry you saw, yes, playing out the back, but in terms of my defensive responsibilities, I've never had to worry about that before when I was a defensive midfielder, because I always had 4 guys behind me to bail me out, right? So now it's just changing that mindset, and that's something I've had to learn, over this past year and a half is, okay, you're actually the last man back now. So you have to watch kind of where you're playing out the back and where it's smart, and it kind of goes back to what I was alluding to before in terms of my decision-making and making sure I don't cough up the ball in bad positions where we could get scored on that I could do before when I was a CDM, right? So I think for sure my ball playing ability, just my vision on the field, that was my top quality that I believe that they saw in me and still see in me. So the other stuff will come.
Yeah, because that's actually really interesting. Go ahead, Jack.
I was just going to say that, you mentioned ball moving center backs, and they are very vogue, and there aren't a lot of those in the modern game. So why do you think that is? And do you think you developed that quality mainly from being a CDM before being a center back?
Yeah, to answer your first question, I think it's just the way football is going. I think it's just you see now goalkeepers being just as good as guys on the field with their feet, and that's just the way the trajectory of football is going, right? You have that extra man in the goalkeeper playing up the back, playing off goal kicks. You rarely see goal kicks now being punted up the pitch unless it's, the 90th minute or a different setting, right? Guys want to play out the back, and now managers are looking for guys that can play out the back, and especially center backs as they start your attack, right? So if your center backs can't play out the back, there's no way you can get it to your playmaking midfielders or your strikers to score goals, right? So I think it's just the trajectory of what football is moving to. And I personally love it. It fits my style. Gone are the days of the center backs just staying in the 18-yard box and heading, balls away and not playing with their feet. Obviously, you still have to have that in your game. But I think moving forward, and especially going forward in the game, you need center backs that can play out the back. And to answer your second question, absolutely, I think my years of being a CDM helped me 100%. It allowed me to have that calmness coming out of the back, to see things differently maybe that other center backs wouldn't see, because center backs that have been playing there since a very young age maybe haven't worked on that side of the game because they haven't had to. And like I said, football is changing. So it's just, it's almost a blessing in disguise knowing that, okay, and Tommy moved me back because he saw my playing ability. And now if I can add those other things in terms of my positioning and defending and 1v1 defending and things of that nature, then things will be interesting going forward.
Well, I just wanted to say, what's striking about that for me is you only moved back in 2018. And you mentioned a little bit earlier, you weren't. So what did Tommy do in order to develop you to be such an elite center back that, a couple of years later, now you're in the MLS and you've only been playing center back for a relatively short period of time?
Yeah, it's
like how did you pick up on that so fast? Like all the nuances of that particular position.
To be honest, I'm still picking it up. I think I really had to work on my mindset in terms of being a defender. That's the one thing that I really had to work on in terms of watching players like Virgil van Dijk, Sergio Ramos, John Stones. John Stones is my favorite center back based on his playing ability. But I had to watch those guys to really say, okay, being a center back is a totally different mindset in terms of you're putting your body on the line. You have to block shots. You have to win tackles. You have to be smart. It's all about positioning, and I learned tons of that with the national team as well. But what Tommy did for me is he looked at my stature in terms of, I'm 6'1" now. My playing ability is really good at this point. Can even get better. But he looked at the virtues I had and said, you know what? Let's just see. And he put me back there. I think we had an injury with Foothills, and he put me back there, and then I basically started almost every game in the season, and I've never kind of looked back. But to answer your question, for me, it was just the mindset and making sure I did my homework on the side. There's little things that he taught me in training too. And obviously guys, when I was at Cavalry, with the guys like, Mason Trafford, veteran guys like that, would help me on the defensive side too. But a lot of it was on my own, and just getting that mindset of, okay, you're a defender now, like don't be running up, trying to get back. And that was the most challenging, and still is the most challenging, because especially in university, I basically had leeway to just do kind of whatever I felt was right in the game. Mike gave me basically just said, go do your thing and make the things work. And but now I don't necessarily have that freedom, but I just got to make sure that I'm there positionally is the biggest thing. And there's little things of, it's called splitting the spine, that Tommy showed me, and just making sure you're on the right side of the ball, and just little nuances like that. That's all about defending for me, and the things that I've learned from guys that I've watched.
Yeah, mindset is super important, because more than half of the game is played in your mind, and the decision. And no matter how skilled you are, if your decision making isn't good, you're not going to be like a good player. That's something that my coaches here in Nova Scotia taught me. You can be, even if you have great skills, it doesn't mean you're a great player. You have to, if you want to be a great player, you have to have like decent skills, but having like good decision making.
Yeah, the soccer IQ, right? And for me, I really had to keep that and work on that, especially growing up, because I had a growth spurt that was late. I wasn't tall until my grade 11, grade 12 year. So I had to make sure, like you alluded to, the skills, and then obviously the soccer IQ, how to play the game. And you can see that in guys, right? You can see, all right, even though this guy might be smaller or not be the best skill, like he knows the game, right? And coaches want to work with guys like that, because you can develop those other things, right? But it's very, very hard to develop a soccer IQ and knowing the game and where the ball's supposed to go next and where you're supposed to be positioned and different things like that. So I love that you said that, because it's I think a lot of times coaches pick on athletic ability and people's stature and talent, which is, yes, you have to have talent, but it's also the soccer IQ and knowing how to play the game as well.
Yeah, so let's talk about soccer IQ. You said your parents played soccer. I don't know what level that they played at, but did you watch soccer when you were growing up?
Yeah, all the time. Like I said, Saturdays were soccer day in our family. It would be, we'd get up every single morning. It would be basically, instead of cartoons, I would be watching soccer, right? And that was my day. They used to show the EPL games on Saturday morning soccer, and I'd watch that and then kind of go to my game, come back. If there's still a game on, an afternoon game, I watch that too. So Saturdays were our soccer day in our family, and we basically made that day kind of our day to all be together and watch it and things of that nature. But yeah, I definitely watched tons of stuff growing up. Still do. Not as much, honestly, as when I was younger. Just based on how busy I am and things like that, and they don't show as much games anymore on TV. But yeah, I watched basically every Saturday. That was kind of our thing.
And did your parents use that as like a kind of learning opportunity, where they're like, watch that player, or did you see what happened there?
I think later on, for sure. I think when I started to get 13, 14, 15, my dad would always, I'd hear him watching games in the living room, and he'd call me in and be like, what do you think of this? And he just asked me, and I would just watch it. And that's honestly a lot of how I learned different things of the game, watching other players. I can't stress this enough for young footballers coming up, and it might not even seem like it's doing anything, but you remember, I remember what this guy did in this game, or you can see, especially when you're watching the game too, you can see where the ball's supposed to go next, and you can say, but on the field it's a lot harder because it's 100 miles an hour and there's guys moving everywhere and all sorts. So knowing where the open spaces are and you can see it, and then adding it to your own game, it was invaluable for me. So it wasn't ever pushed on me. My parents never forced it on me. It was always me, the first one basically in the living room getting ready. And but I loved just watching and learning. And obviously I watched it for the enjoyment too, because I think that's the most thing. But for sure there were times where I would watch and take things of different players and add it to my game.
And now at this level, like, are you doing the same thing with like MLS? Like, are you preparing for, a team against, Atlanta United, for example, and then you're kind of watching some of their strikers or their attackers and how they build up attacks so that you're prepared?
Yeah, absolutely. We get video of guys strikers every single weekend, basically whoever we're playing. So we get to see who we're going to be up against, whether he's left-footed, right-footed, loves to push the ball wide, loves to cross, things of that sort. So it's now I wouldn't say I do as much watching games to learn in terms of watching professional players play. But we do a lot of video with our team, and you watch a lot more of yourself now because basically you're a professional footballer, you're playing week in, week out, and now it's okay, how can I dissect my game and say, okay, I should have done this there, I should have done this there. I'm not a massive video person now. I think it's hard to, it's good to see little nuances or maybe big things, but I think it's easier now to go back to video and say, okay, you should have done this, this, and this, but in the game, it's a completely different story. So I'm a bit hit and miss with it. Sometimes I don't want to do it at all. Sometimes I do want to do it, but I go back and forth, but I think it is very useful.
And on game day, do you do any visualization, or do you have like a game day routine?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's really routine because now we've been on the road so much, right? So I'm used to being in the comfort of my own city or home. Used to be home. I'll do my little nap and have my pregame, but now it's so much harder because you're basically on someone else's schedule, right? You kind of have to do this, this, and this. You can't really go for the walk around your neighborhood, or you can't do different types of things that you would need to get ready. But I have little things where it's like if I feel tired and I want to nap, I'll nap for about 30, 45 minutes, depending how I feel that day, depending on the game. Now we're playing, at 3 p.m., so it's hard to get a nap in. You have to nap at, 11 or 12. So, but yeah, I visualize a little bit. I visualize myself doing, proper things in the game, hitting the ball out, making good passes. And once I'm at the game, I have my little field ritual and in the locker room just to get myself in the zone and different things like that nature. But it's not a massive thing where I have to do it every single day. I'm not I don't really believe in superstitions that much. But I like my little routine and kind of getting myself ready and making my brain aware, okay, it's game day today, get your legs going, things of that nature, but nothing too serious.
Okay. And do you find that there is like a favorite, do you have a quote that you live by or a quote that you really like that helps you get prepared for a game or just in general?
Oof, that's a good question. I would say the most supernatural thing we can do is be consistent. That's been one that I've had since probably before university. Because I think it's all about consistency. I think you look at anyone that's good at anything, whether not even football, just in life, people love consistent people. I think if you know that person's going to bring it every single day and know, in our case, that person's going to play well every weekend or that person's going to train very well every single day, people love consistency. It's just, our nature. And yes, there's going to be those days where you might not have it, you might not feel like it, or you might have a bad game, but if you can be in the upper echelon of saying, okay, if your best game and your worst game, if you can keep minimizing that space in between each one, and like even if you have a bad game and people don't really notice, you're doing something right? So I think it's just having that consistency and just like I said, it goes back to the routine like I have and making sure that everything's consistent with what I do. And but yeah, I would say that's one of my favorite quotes that I try to live by, and I think that's one of the reasons why I'm here, right? If you can keep putting in consistent performances week in, week out, people start to notice and say, okay, we can rely on that guy, and that's how you get contracts.
I like that. I like that quote a lot. I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I love it.
So you led CPL defenders with successful passes per 90 minutes. And, you had a 90% completion ratio of passes in the opposition third in the CPL. How does your passing get so good? Is it knowing what you want to do before the ball, making that decision before? Is it your ability to read the game? We talked a little bit about soccer IQ. Is it just, your technical ability, like that you practice your weak foot like again and again and again? What would you say?
I didn't even know those stats, but Thank you for reading those out. Yeah, no, I think it's been instilled in me since probably, like I said, U13. I think my dad was a massive, massive part in that. Making sure that no matter what happened, the basics were good. Mm-hmm. I think if I love guys that can, dribble, step overs, all those I want those guys on my team to create magic. Mm-hmm. But that was never me. And my dad made sure that I was good at the basics, making sure I can make a 10-yard pass, making sure, okay, once you go to 10 yards, can you go to 15, 20, right? And making sure that you don't just do it until you get it right once. You got to keep getting it right over and over and over. And for me, it was been instilled in me just passing in general. It was funny when I was younger, 5, 6, 7, after I would get my couple of goals, my parents would be like, hey, you can't score, now you got to pass like the rest of the game, right? So it was almost instilled in me that even now you look at chances I may have passed up university or whatever, I would not take the shot to give it the salt. Like sometimes it's a detriment, but I think overall it helped me kind of know the importance of how technically sound you have to be. And that was just, like I said, always instilled with me in a young age. And I just kept doing it and made sure, okay, like my passing was good when I was growing up. But now I think it's on that next level and starting to get to the next level. I still want to add a range pass, 40, 50 yards. Those are all different things I think about. But I think if you can nail the basics, it goes down to all those different things, technique. I did all those things growing up too, little drills here and there to work on my technique and shooting at a target or passing to a target or going to the field with my dad. And yes, all those things are important, but I think it's just repetition. I think the more times you repeat an action, it's just going to be instilled. And now with both feet, I made sure I did it with both feet. Just repeating that action over and over and over, it starts to become instilled in your brain and you kind of just start to do it naturally. So for me, it's that. Yes, there's technique that plays a big part in it, but it's been instilled in me from a young age.
Mm-hmm. So also like muscle memory, just doing it over and over again. So you have the muscle memory. So even if you're under pressure, you can still hit the like accurate pass.
Absolutely. Muscle memory it is. That's exactly what it is.
Do you like playing in a back three or a back four? What's your favorite formation?
I like both. I think there's a need for both depending on who we play against and obviously depending on what the manager wants. But I like how in a back three you can be a bit more aggressive because you have that covering behind. So if I step or the other left center back steps, it almost becomes a back four with our wing backs coming in. Mm-hmm. With the back four, you're more a stay at home. You don't drop as much, but you more stay at home. You can't be too aggressive because it's hard for guys to slide across. But I think I like both. I love in the back three that when you do it properly, and it depends on the formation of the opposition, that you have that space in front of you to play. Because like you said, stats, I love going to the other team's half and making things happen because that's what I miss about being a CDM and being a part of the play. And you'll see me on video, I'll sometimes just get caught up in the attack and I'll want to run in the box and be in there too and forget about my defensive responsibilities. But for me, it's I love the rush of being in the opposing half and making things happen and getting on the ball and playing in risky areas and playing risky passes. And that's something that I think coaches, it's a high risk, high reward type thing. But I love both formations depending on the opposition.
And speaking of playing a back three and a back four, how could you explain a bit more about how it's different? They're playing a back three and a back four, and what like advantages you have for each.
Yeah, so basically the advantage of a back three, I would say, is that obviously in possession, once the wing backs are high, whatever formation they're playing, their wing backs or wingers are going to have to drop on those wing backs once they step high. So if you have possession, then you have all that space in the attacking half to take your touch and you have more time on the ball, which I love. Back four, and also on the defensive side, you have a back five, right? So there's more bodies there. It's easier to defend. Sometimes it is harder because you kind of get lost in whose guy it actually is because there's so many bodies. But like I said, you can be more aggressive and you can step up and know that you have coverage in the back. And then with a back four is just more obviously traditional. You know where your right back is. You're gonna have some options on the ball. Right back, form a diamond. So what we're trying to do right now is form different diamonds. As you know, so say if I was a right-sided center back with the right back, with the number 10 or striker coming across as the point of the diamond, and then one of the sixes on the side of the diamond. So you see that in video and you actually see it working, and you're like, this is a cool way to play. And especially with our guys like to get on the ball. And then with the back four, it's also an advantage knowing, like I said, once you shift, you see basically in plain sight what guy you have to cover. You know which guy is yours once you slide. So that's another advantage. And I think there's obviously disadvantages and advantages to both formations. But it's whatever suits your team. And for us right now, a back five or a back three is suiting our team perfectly.
Cool. So you mentioned ball moving center backs being in vogue in the modern game. We talked a little bit about that. Would you say that versatility is also becoming more important in the modern game? You're a player that's obviously versatile. That can just go into a position and play, and just step in and take care of the situation.
Yeah. This is one I've struggled with as a player growing up a little bit too, and especially moving back to center back and hearing people say, oh, he's very versatile. He can play here, here, and here. It was difficult for me at first because I said, okay, I want to be specialized in one position, and I want to be good enough in that position, right? So it was kind of a hit to my ego at first, I would say, even though they meant it nicely. But I think now I look at it as an advantage 100%. I think if you can play more positions on the pitch, coaches love guys like that because, like you said, you can be put in different positions. I can still play a CDM now if I wanted. I'm not as good because you get so transitioned and adapted to, now I'm a center back. I never have to check my shoulder or see if anyone's behind me. Now when I move into CDM, I'm going to have to have my head on a swivel. I'm not doing that anymore, right?
Yeah.
But if I have to, I'll step in and I'll probably hold my own. But I look at it now as a complete advantage too, especially if you can play I can play on the left side too as a left-sided center back using my left foot. I can play on the right side, obviously. But I look at it as a huge advantage because I think coaches like to take chances more on guys like that because, okay, even if he's not suited for this position, he can still play here if I need him to. And coaches just love versatile players and making sure that they have those types of guys on their team too, because I think especially in deep playoff runs, deep seasons, later on in the season, injuries happen. Use these guys for different positions and we won't lose a beat.
Yeah, I think that being versatile is a great advantage because Daddy actually taught me how to use my left foot at an early age. So because they're on my team, there are a lot of right foot players. I'm usually put on the left because I'm a winger, so I'm usually put on the left wing and I can cut in. But if I'm on the right, I can cross. So I find that there's advantages on being both, on being either flank because you can do either things, and the versatility is a really good thing to have.
Absolutely, couldn't have said it better myself.
And
cool.
I wanted to ask you something about Thierry Henry. So what is one thing that you have learned from him? Because he is a fantastic player, fantastic coach. He's not with you guys anymore. But what was one thing that you learned from him?
I would say the mindset of being a footballer, for sure. He was demanding. He had high standards. He wanted the best out of you. He definitely tried to get the best out of you in different ways. It was different for each player. But for him, it was, he told us when you're on the bus or when you're at the hotel, or he wants it 99% of the time talking about football. Yes, there's other things in life that obviously guys talk about. But with him, he wanted to make sure that the mindset was there, and it made sense just looking what he's done in his career. It completely made sense in knowing how different his mindset was, and making sure that football was the number one priority, and instilling that in our team as well. So definitely just the mindset of being an overall professional, going back to the soccer IQ, going back to how you channel yourself in the media, all those types of different things, just the mindset of being a footballer. He was in the upper echelon of that, and you can see, that in his career, right? Just voted one of the best players in the Premier League, right? So it's to be coached by that and to get a little bit of a taste of what that mentality was like. It was great for not only our team, but obviously for me personally too.
I bet it was awesome to have like such an amazing like player have like instill that like amazing like mindset, because he was a great player, so he must have had like amazing mindset, and it must have been really cool having him as your coach, because he would have like tried to instill that mindset throughout the whole team.
Yeah, and like you said before, I forget the percentage of what you said, but it's the mindset is almost all of it. If your mindset's there, everything that you've practiced and going back to the muscle memory and all the stuff you practice on the pitch, once that mentality is there, all that other stuff is going to follow, right? And it just it brings you to that next level of football, in my opinion. So we still got a long ways to go in terms of my mentality and things of that sort, and how I kind of want to navigate through my professional career. But I can definitely say his mindset definitely helped towards that.
So speaking of mindset, I was reading somewhere that you made your debut in the CONCACAF League. You came into to a game in the 17th minute because of an injury, and that performance drew some plaudits from the pundits. And then also in your MLS debut, you earned an assist in your season-opening win. So your ability to kind of step into these ultra-competitive situations and excel. Speak on that for a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's that was a crazy experience, especially I knew going back to the Champions League game, I knew that week I was the only center back that traveled. So I knew if anything were to happen, then my name would most likely get called. So I had to kind of that week of preparing, making sure that I was ready for that moment if it did come. But that was, people have asked me about this, in the last year of what that experience was like. It was almost, I just explained it was almost all a blur because it was so loud. There's 20,000 screaming fans. I didn't even hear my manager call me. That's how loud it was from the bench in terms of ready and getting warmed up. And basically, all I remember him saying was just ease yourself into the game. That's it. So I ran on. He said, just ease yourself into the game. And that definitely calmed me down in some sense. But I think it was also just something instilled. I don't know. Maybe it's just my personality. But I love big moments and big games, and the bigger the crowd, the more I love it. So for me, going to that game, yes, there were nerves, but there was also a massive amount of excitement, and I knew already how to almost trick my mind into calming myself down, my body down, just going back to the basics of what I did that week, but also my entire life, thinking about, okay, like, do the things that got you to this point already. And for me, that's what I was just trying to focus on. And I think when people are put in those positions, they fall back to the training and the things they've done in the past. And for me, it was exactly that. So yeah, I think just going back from what I remember, I just tried to defend well. We obviously knew we were in a hostile environment, playing against a really good team, trying to come away with a result. And but I think it's just something in my personality or my DNA or the experiences I've had in my career so far. Obviously nothing like that with 20,000 screaming Spanish fans. But it was also, I just kind of looked around and I kind of just enjoyed it, right? Because this is what, as a kid, I dreamed about, playing in front of that many people and in big moments and big games. And I think if you ask any footballer, those are the moments that they live for. So
yeah,
for me, it was just, just trying to stay in the moment as much as I can, calming myself down, and then we'll kind of deal with it after of what kind of happened. So we came away with it with a result. And then obviously the New England game, same thing. We were at Olympic Stadium, massive attendance, just going back to what I do best and what got me there. And the assist was just kind of a cherry on top of the cake. And anything to kind of help my team win.
Nice. That's awesome. So what about the national team? You got called up to the national team squad. I mean, what is that like? And especially because you said that you developed a little bit later on, because we've interviewed some players that have played on the national team at like younger ages, and then they kind of don't make the later team. But you seem to be peaking at just the right time. What is that like training with those guys? Well, I guess you know Sammy Piet, right?
Yeah. So I met a lot of guys, obviously, and obviously I've heard of guys growing up too. I heard of a lot of the guys in Ontario and things of that nature. So you hear these names, and for me it was, like you said, being a late bloomer. I actually, in my room, probably the last 2-3 years, I had 2026 written on. I have a little board that I used to bring with me everywhere, and I had 2026 getting ready, and I wanted to be ready for the 2026 World Cup. And now seeing that I could be ready for the 2022 one, it's a dream come true for me. I think at any time you could represent your country is the biggest honor, and it was a different excitement, a different feeling from when I signed in the MLS, because I think it's your country, right? It's with guys that know the system, know the country. We're all wearing that maple leaf, and it's like I said, I just tried to enjoy every second of it, and I knew January was a time for me to show what I'm capable of for the first time, and then I got my invite back for the World Cup qualifying back in March. So I want to just keep getting called back, and for me, just seeing the progress and all the work that went into that, like you said, from a young age, that I wasn't looked at, and I didn't take the route that people you normally take. It was nice to see that they give people like me a chance, and hopefully I could be a picture of young footballers to say, okay, you don't have to go to a D1 school. You don't have to be a part of the provincial team growing up all your years. You don't have to, be the man when you're 17, 18. You can develop those things later, and to see the fruits of my labor finally come to fruition and pay off. It's really nice to see. And like I said, I just want to be getting called back and be a part of such an exciting time for Canada, especially with all the talent that we do have. I want to be a part of that going into the World Cup qualifying, and hope we can qualify for World Cup next year.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the World Cup is one of the biggest tournaments in the world, and it'd be so cool if like Canada was playing in it, and especially if you were playing in it too, because I've seen you play on Cavalry, on Club de Foot Montreal, and it'd be so cool to see you like playing with that maple leaf on your chest, and like being there and just playing against some of the best teams in like the world. Like you could put into like a group with like Spain or like a team like that.
You're getting me excited now, man. Like that's exactly what it is, and those are like, whether footballers want to admit, those are things that we think about too, right? And we want to be there. And I haven't thought about the teams in our group that far yet, but we have to make it. But just having the opportunity to be a part of it, and just to think about all the stuff it took to get here in terms of, like I said, taking those 45 minutes of training every night, my parents committing, my friends committing to it, backing me and saying, yeah, go for it. We got things here. You're going to be fine. Just keep enjoying it. And you look at how many people have been a part of your journey and how you got there, and going through the PDL and going through the system and all that kind of stuff paying off. It's exciting. It's crazy to see kind of where I came from, doing what I'm doing. But, that's why I wanted to play. And now that, I have a chance to keep representing my country, I hope I keep getting called back, and we can kind of do something special.
And yeah, that's awesome. And now I notice that you're giving back because you're involved with Kidsport, right?
I am involved with Kidsport. Yeah. So I got involved with Kidsport last year. In my time off, in the 5 months that we weren't training, the stuff I could kind of focus on off the pitch, I started to think about. And think about the impact of what I can do now, especially with the platform I have now. And Kidsport came into mind when my mom actually told me I was a recipient of Kidsport when I was younger. So they gave us money to stay in sport and to stay in soccer. And without their generosity, who knows what would have happened, right? So for me, it was hearing that. I just wanted to be involved, and I gave them a call and said, if there's anything that you guys want me to do, I can help out in any way possible. And they said, let's do this. Let's make you an ambassador. I said, absolutely. And obviously with me being on the road times and I actually can't be in my own community, I wanted to help people, especially in my hometown of Aldergrove, but also in BC in general, with young footballers there, and focusing on more of the football, but other sports as well, because my thing is just inspiring not only footballers, but young hockey players, basketball players, whatever. If you want to be a doctor, if you want to do Bitcoin, you know what I mean? It's totally up to you of what you kind of want to do. But for me, it was really important to give back, especially during the off season when I was home. I got to help in my own community, which was really cool to see. And I think they had 89 kids for fall. And then we did our own little thing with Kidsport, and Kidsport helped out. We put on an event, and I was there coaching and just having tons of fun because I want to be a potential coach when I'm done my career. And then I think they had, over 200 kids for the spring. So it just grew, and seeing that and seeing kids love it and come back. And it's kids in your own community, a club that I played for. It was really special to see. So I want to keep doing those types of things and continuing to do. I already have some stuff planned for the off season and when I come back to Vancouver in the off season. But yeah, it's using my platform to kind of just, I don't really necessarily see it as a role model type situation. I just think I love it and I want to share that with people. And if the kids love it too, we can all kind of benefit from it. And if they want to use my story as some hope or a way to look for, something different in their lives, whatever they're struggling through, that's amazing. But for me, it's been instilled with me from a young age from my parents too, just always giving back. And I think it's kind of our duty to kind of give back in certain ways. I think we all have an audience that would listen to kind of what we say, and that we can help. So I think it's kind of our duty to kind of do so.
Yeah, it must be an amazing feeling to get to be like a coach and be a coach and an ambassador for a club that you played for when you were growing up, and like helping young kids develop and just getting to play like an awesome sport. Yeah,
it's crazy to see. Like, I don't want to go too deep, but like it's like you see kids and you're like, wow, that was me when I was 5 or 6 years old, and like, wow, I would have loved the pro to come hang out with us and just show me some stuff. And just those are kind of priceless moments that I think kids love, and parents were out, and it becomes a bigger thing than you ever imagined. And we also got to raise some money, so now some kids will get some money from Kidsport. So yeah, there's lots of cool stories that you hear about, especially in your own backyard. I think if you look close enough, I think there's a group of people that sometimes need a little extra push, and especially in my own hometown, not being the richest community out there, you see kids coming out and they can afford to play soccer, and it's an outlet for them, and that's kind of what it was for me growing up too. So to be able to give that back is special to me.
That's awesome. Now we usually ask players, if they follow like a special diet. Do you follow a special diet or anything?
No, I don't. I just, we eat carbs, protein, probably all you can guess. I love to snack. I love my snacks too. But yeah, it's a lot of carbs, a lot of protein, a lot of veggies. Definitely during the week from Monday to basically to Saturday, it's pretty structured. And then Sundays are usually day off, so you can kind of, get a little extra snack in there, some ice cream, whatever you have. But I try and keep it, as natural and neutral as I can. But, we're like everyone else. We need that little outlet once in a while. But no strict, nothing like a paleo or keto or whatever. I'm just, it's more carbs, protein, getting all that good stuff in, checking in with our nutritionist to see if this is okay. But yeah, that's how I kind of do things.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And then I saw on Instagram you were talking about Mannatech. So yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so my aunt actually works for Mannatech, so she got me involved with it last year during my time off, and I was really looking to see, okay, what are some good supplements out there? And not only supplements, I got some skincare, I got lotions, I got different stuff like that. All natural, amazing ingredients, but they also have that aspect of philanthropy too. That for every $100 that you buy from Mannatech, it goes towards a family. It makes a thing called Phyto Blend. So the Phyto Blend gets sent from the States to countries with that can afford food, that can afford their own meals. It's a very nutrient dense powder that you can add to kind of anything they have, and it gives you the vital nutrients. But I'm involved with that. I'm an ambassador for that. I love promoting their products because for me it was really important, especially as a professional footballer, to find stuff that's clean and that's not prohibited on any of the lists, and that you can actually trust. And all this stuff from immune system support to recovery to hydration, you name it, they have something for it. So it was important for me, and obviously to have that philanthropy aspect to it too just made it even better for me. So, yeah, Mannatech is a huge part of my daily life. I take vitamins every single day, use their skincare products, use different types of things of that nature. So they've been, it's kind of helped me take that next step in making sure that I'm healthy. I have a bit of a cold right now, but I think it's just from my AC in my room, but I haven't been sick in a long time. So, yeah, just trying to keep myself healthy, and it's about longevity for me, right? Is however long I can stay in the game for. I'll do any extra details to stay and play as long as I can.
And speaking of staying in the game for a long time, do you do yoga?
I'm not a huge yoga fan, I'll be honest. It's hard for me, and I think footballers in general, because we're not the most flexible guys out there. For our team. But no, I love stretching. I stretch every single day. I love stretching. Yoga, we'll do it every once in a while on our recovery days. And it's, like I said, it's really good for guys if they want to get into routine for it. For me, I've never really gotten into it like that. But I would recommend it, I think, just for the stretching aspect. And if that's something that calms you down or relaxes you and things of that nature, for sure. I have other ways I do that, but yoga's never really been my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, I know what you mean by yoga sometimes being hard because I play soccer over 15 hours a week between my academy and my club.
Yeah.
So I'm not the most flexible either, but our academy has us do a yoga thing. So I do enjoy it, but some of the poses are hard.
It's hard, and it's hard to get out of the positions. It's the hard part to do it, but no, it's. I would say if I did it on a more everyday basis, I think I would enjoy it more. It would become easier, but for me, I'll stick to kind of my stretching and the other types of things I do to kind of stay loose and that. So.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, they must have some pretty high tech recovery tools in over there.
Yeah, we have this thing called Normatech. They're basically boots that you put on that kind of squeeze your legs, and it's like a massage or things of that nature. We have obviously our therapy team always on site helping us out. Different stuff we take. So yeah, we're in good hands for sure.
All right. And you're one of the few players that we've interviewed that has a FIFA card. And albeit, FIFA rankings are a little arbitrary, especially players coming from a new league. But have you seen your FIFA card? And if so, where do you think FIFA did you wrong?
Oh, every single one. I think I'm 57, 58.
Yeah.
everything. No, I was kidding. The shooting,
Yeah.
I think I'm like a 23 or 22 shooting or something like that.
Yeah. Well, you saw that shot that you did at where was that? What grounds was that for
I
Cavalry?
think the Cavalry grounds, the football tennis goal. Everyone keeps talking about football tennis.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was hot. Sorry. No. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I play FIFA sometimes with some of my boys back home.
Yeah.
I'm not I don't have an ultimate team or anything of that sort, but yeah, when I saw my FIFA card, it was kind of cool knowing just how we play FIFA growing up, right? Like that's basically the only thing I played. I'm sure you guys have played too, and just seeing yourself in the game, and it's kind of crazy, right? And but yeah, when I saw that, I said I gotta get that up soon. I gotta call FIFA. I gotta know somebody at FIFA to change that number because I think my like strength is my biggest attribute or something like that, and that was never it, especially during university. I was a skinny kid, I didn't really like contact as much, but I guess now you're a center back, you're gonna have to have that part of your game, right? So but yeah, it's cool to be kind of in the game, and I haven't used myself yet, but I've had friends that put me in their ultimate team and kind of send me a video, which has been kind of cool. So yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it's kind of cool to see, but I'll probably use myself one day, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fun to see.
Well, speaking about that goal, were you like the winner at table tennis over at Cavalry? I mean, that was just sublime.
We never really played a lot of soccer tennis, to be honest. It was more of a instinct thing where, I just tried to put it in a good area. I'm gonna say I tried to score. I won't say anything different, but I tried to put it back post, and it ended up going over their keeper and in the back of the net. So it was one of the finer goals I've scored in my career, and it was a good time because actually that day was family day. My parents actually flew in for the weekend, so they got to see.
Wow,
that's
awesome.
That's so cool.
So it was cool to see, and I remember pointing at them in the stands, and they were how excited they were and how much they enjoyed the day, and it was it was fun for everyone. It was a good goal.
Yeah. And just I was just wondering, what part of the foot did you hit that with? Was it like the laces, and like straight on or instep?
Inside, yeah. I think it was my instep, if I remember correctly. It was a long time ago, but I think it was my instep. I think it came down. I think Jules hit it off the corner and went around back post. Got to give credit to Martin Nash for the set pieces. He put me back post, so I just waited there and kind of judged the fight of the ball, and like I said, tried to put it in a good area, and it ended up going in the back of the net. So it was, and then, if people want to say I meant to do it, or if I didn't meant to, I'll leave it up to the fans to decide. But
that's the best way.
I meant to do it, so it's no, it was a good goal, good day, and I'll remember that goal probably for the rest of my life.
Nice, that's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
All right, we've probably gone overtime. Do you want to do rapid fire real quick, Jack?
Yeah, let's do it. Do you play FIFA? Well, you just said you played FIFA a little bit, but what's your favorite team to use when you do play FIFA?
PSG. You need speed.
Okay.
Speed in FIFA. Guys that choose the technical teams, you're not gonna do the best. You need the counter-attack speed. You need the Neymar, the Mbappes on both sides. That's it.
Yeah.
PSG is my team.
Yeah, you need fast players on the flanks, and I use more technical players in the middle.
Yeah. That's it. You know it already.
Xbox or PS4?
I have an Xbox because a lot of my friends from back home. I would say that PS4 is, in my opinion, better. I've played both, but the Xbox was cheaper, and all my friends have it back home. So basically, I like to play with them. So I just got an Xbox. I think it was actually last year when the pandemic hit. I said I need something to do when it's over and I'm doing all my work. Then I need something to kind of enjoy. So I got that last year.
Cool.
Okay. Do you dance?
Yeah, I love to dance. Yes. Yes. I mean, if I'm good or not, I'll leave that up to other people. But I love to dance. People that know me in the locker room a bit. I was actually out last night for some dinner, and music was playing, and I kind of knew every song, and I was kind of doing my own thing, and some of my teammates were laughing about that. But yeah, on a night out or whatever too, I'll dance a little bit too. So it's fun.
Nice. And what's your favorite word?
Favorite word? I would say joy.
I like that.
I think in anything, especially football. My dad said this from when I was 5, 6 years old. He's like, the day you stop having fun, you can quit. And I said, done. And I haven't stopped loving it, which is good. But I think for me, it's all about the joy on the pitch. If you don't love it, if you're not having fun, I don't think there's any point in doing it. And then also just the state you're in off the pitch and in life. I think you just have to have that state of just joy and just enjoying, what life has to throw at you and all the things of that nature. So I would say joy.
Yeah, I love the word joy, and it has such a beautiful meaning.
Yeah.
And do you have a spirit animal? And if so, how did you connect with it? Well,
I haven't even looked into a spirit animal. I didn't even have any guesses of what mine would be either, to be honest. I mean,
a spirit animal is usually sometimes the way of knowing what it is you have a natural attraction to it.
Okay.
Mine's a wolf.
Ooh, I like that one. I love the whole, ferocious angle. Lions, tigers, wolves, bears. Bears are crazy to me. The most powerful animals on earth. I don't know if I'm like that per se. I just like those animals. But yeah, no, that's a good question. I'll think about that and I'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah, I remember someone saying to me that sometimes people have 4 spirit animals. One that guards the east, west, south, and north. Yeah, so that's interesting.
Right.
And what's your hidden talent?
Hidden talent? I don't think I have one. I don't know how to juggle. I don't know how to. No, I don't think I have any hidden talents, man. I got to think about that one, but I don't think I have any hidden talents.
Maybe it's dancing.
I wish maybe.
Yeah, let's just go with dancing. Who do you support as a soccer team? And was there a favorite team that you liked to watch when you grew up watching soccer?
Growing up, it was basically anyone that was on, but I'm a Liverpool fan. So Liverpool came kind of when I was growing up. Stevie G was my favorite player growing up. So my love for Liverpool kind of came from him. But I would watch anything growing up for sure. Any game, whether it was, United, Arsenal, Chelsea, whoever was on, I would watch. But Liverpool is definitely my favorite team.
And where is your happy place?
I would say either the pitch for sure. That's when I can kind of just release and just be whatever, think whatever, express myself. It's kind of an outlet for kind of like musicians when they write music. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that feeling of, okay, like even this morning I was on the way to training thinking about tons of different stuff. And when I got to the pitch, it was just like a breath of fresh air almost, right? You got to get there and it's like, okay, this is where I'm sort of meant to be. Away from the pitch, I used to go to this place called Shuswap Lake. It's in British Columbia. I don't know if you guys know where Kamloops is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lake near there. I used to go there with my family, my mom's side, tons of cousins, aunts, uncles. We would go there for 8-9 days at a time and just hang out by the lake, go golfing. I haven't been in probably 3-4 years because I'm always playing football now in the summers. So
yeah.
But we would sit by the fire, tons of different things like that, and just bum it for 8-9 days. And that's I have amazing memories from those times. So that's probably another one of my happy places for sure.
Yeah, that sounds really nice. And do you have a nickname?
I do. It's just JJ. I got it back in university, so there's 2 Joels on my team, and my good friend's named Caleb Scott. He named me JJ Watts at first, and then they got rid of the Watts and basically just kept calling me JJ, and it's kind of stuck since till today. And he still calls me it. All my friends back home call me it. It's my Instagram handle now because Joel Waterman was taken at the time when I got Instagram, so JJ is my nickname.
Nice. And what is one superpower you'd like to have?
Superpower. I was actually just watching Avengers last night too, so this should be easy. Probably to read people's minds. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
But also not, because they could be saying something pretty mean and you would know what they're saying, right? I was gonna say flying, but I mean I've been in planes too much this year and too much over the last 2 years, so I don't think I would like to fly anymore. But reading people or being invisible, I think that'd be cool too. Yeah,
being invisible would be cool. And do you cook?
I do. Not very well. I can cook the main things: the chicken, the pastas, the sweet potatoes, fish. But in terms of using spices and how it's actually supposed to taste, I'm lost, man. I'm lost. I wish I knew. Like, I tried to learn some stuff over the off season. I was in the kitchen a little bit with my mom, but it's I gotta hand it to cooks. It's a different profession. It's the people that can make different flavors work, and I won't even go into it, but that stuff it's hard. I wish I could cook very well, because I think it'd be a lot easier. But again, we get our stuff cooked for us a lot of the time during the season, especially when we're on the road like this. So I gotta wait till the off season to practice a bit more, I think.
Okay. And what's your favorite board game?
What's the one?
Catan?
Codenames. Have you ever played Codenames?
Oh yes, we just got it for Christmas. Santa gave it to me. So yeah, we've been playing Codenames a lot, and it's really fun.
Yeah, the one clue game. I love that. I always play that in the off season with my friends back home. We love that. I actually played it over FaceTime last year during the pandemic a lot too. So that's one of my favorite games. Yeah. Yeah,
Codenames is fun. It's a little like charades, I guess, but I'd say more fun.
Yeah, definitely more fun than charades.
And what's your favorite movie?
The Avengers.
Okay. Avengers. Anyone in particular?
Probably Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Some humor, has some intense parts, some fighting. It's kind of got everything. I like comedies too. I like a little bit of romance every now and then. My girlfriend makes me watch those kind of movies. So, yeah, I like a little bit of everything. No scary, nothing scary. Nothing. Yeah,
me neither. I hate scary.
I don't get it. People pay, especially when they go to the movie theater. People pay to go scare themselves. Nah.
Yes.
I know. I've thought about that too. Why do people go and scare themselves?
Yeah, they complain when they can't sleep. It's like, no, you did it yourself. That's not for me. That's not for me.
What are you currently reading?
I'm currently reading. It's a book called Twisted Scripture. It's about basically, I think it's 25 or 30 lies that the Bible tells us. So the reason why I'm reading that is I became a Christian also in 2018 when I was with Cavalry. So that's been a whole new journey that we'll probably need another meeting for if you guys ever want to talk about it. But yeah, it's something that I hold dear to my heart and my faith, and it's kind of led me to making a bunch of decisions in my life to where I am now. Yeah, I'm reading that book. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I bet it'd be very interesting. Cool. And if you could explore all the oceans, go to outer space, or visit 50 different countries, which one would you choose and why?
50 countries, easy. Oceans scare me. Being like, nah, I don't do water. Space, it could be cool. But again, like high and not too much stuff around you. You know what I mean? Like it's just you and the galaxy. You know, that freaks me out
And
too.
think about how difficult it would be to play soccer in space. Can't even juggle. Like, forget it.
Play soccer as a universal language. People are going to know what it is. There's going to be fields everywhere you go. And I've traveled enough a lot now where I love seeing different cultures and how different people think and how they're growing up and things of that nature. So I want to go to Spain eventually and really enjoy it and really enjoy that culture. That's one of the places I really want to go to. But
I'm scared to go to Spain because I know all I'm going to do is want to just eat.
Like real, like authentic Italian pasta too. Oh, it's
Spain.
That's
Spain
my
is the
problem
top of my
everywhere.
bucket list too. Spain is the top of my bucket list, partly because of soccer. I'd love to go see like a soccer game. I love watching the big three teams in Spain, so Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, and Barcelona. I think they're all really fun to watch, and I know like they're all really big rivals, but I enjoy watching them all. So one of them would be fun to see. But yeah, it'd also be fun to like just play soccer, like as a universal language. Just go to the field and like play with some kids there.
Yeah,
they'd be so good.
So good. Street footballer. Oh, so good. Yeah.
If you watch Netflix, what are you currently watching, or what was your favorite thing to watch?
I was a Outer Banks fan. Have you seen Outer Banks?
No.
Outer Banks is good. A little bit of drama, a little bit of romance, a little bit of, all that good stuff. What else did I watch? I watched a lot of stuff during the pandemic. I'm sure you guys. I never really got into Tiger King. I was never really into that. But I like reality shows. I like some crime. Nothing too scary, but the crime is always fun to watch and always keep up with the story. I like ones that you can keep up with the story. I watched Ginny and Georgia. I don't know if you guys have ever watched Ginny and Georgia.
Mommy watched it.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, she liked it.
I mean, it's again another girlfriend recommended one, but I liked it. I can't lie, I liked it. It was. I watched a lot of stuff, but more movies, I would say, than TV shows. I'm a more movie guy.
Yeah. And what is your most used emoji?
Probably the crying, laughing emoji.
Okay.
Probably, yeah. I got some funny people in my life that we always, probably that one for sure. There's always some jokes in group chats flying around, and yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's a funny one.
That's good.
Goals for the future.
Oh, you know what? I don't really know if I really believe in, goal setting as much as I did when I was younger. I've come to the place in my life where I'm sure you've done something similar to like the SMART goals, and you would write down like your timeline and different things of that sort. But for me, I have more vision, like a vision, I would say. I call it more of a vision rather than a goal. I think the results that we always try and chase for are very finite, and we always can't control them. For example, if I say I want to win an MLS Cup, right? That's a vision of mine and something I would love to do, but it's also, there's so many uncontrollables, like, in a certain game, a ref could make a call that changes the whole, you know what I mean? Different things like that. Yeah. So I'd rather focus more on what I can do and the process of it and what I can do each and every day rather than a specific goal in the future. That's kind of helped me already. Just kind of focusing on myself and what I can do and let the results take care of themselves. I can't control if, a manager chooses me for the 11, or I can't control if I get chosen for the national team. I don't get to make those decisions. So for me, it's just focusing on what I can do daily and going back to my whole consistency thing, being consistent as I can, and those things hopefully will come. But now I'm at a point in my career, I also want to just enjoy it too, and just enjoy being a professional footballer and working hard and just enjoying, like you said, we spoke about at the beginning, failures of it, everything that comes along with it, because this is something I've wanted forever. And that's kind of where I'm at now, just trying to enjoy every second of it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And what do you think of Club de Foot Montreal's new crest? I see that you have the shirt right there. I personally love snow, ice. I love Jack Frost. So what do you think of the new crest?
I like it. It keeps, for me, it keeps getting better and better. Hearing what it represents now. Like I said, I didn't grow up in Montreal, so it's a bit different if you were to ask someone that grew up in Montreal. The impact was obviously a huge thing for people and a huge part of their lives for so long. So with respects to that, I think especially after a pandemic as well, and how much our team did change. For me personally, I think it was a good time to think about those things and to do a couple changes. I didn't know if it was going to be a whole brand switch, but once they, kind of told us what it all meant and how it represents the city more and the multiculturalism of what Montreal represents, it made sense to me. And I'm starting to come around to it. I love our colors. I like the badge. So I think you'll have mixed feelings from obviously our fans too. I'm sure you guys saw some stuff about what kind of was happening with them, but I think people are starting to slowly come around to it.
Yeah, and the rivalry with Toronto.
Yeah.
That's still intense.
Yeah.
So, I forgot to ask you, just quickly, was there any player in particular that helped you settle when you first got to Montreal?
I don't know if I would say settle. I think it was more of everyone was super welcoming.
Awesome.
The coaching staff, the players. I knew Shamit Shone from before.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of hearing his name and him being in the Edmonton community and being a part of the national team, and he knew a lot of the same guys we knew, and I played against Edmonton, and you just hear these guys' names, and then you kind of meet them personally, and you actually have way more in common than you would have thought. So he was one guy that we kind of related on a bunch of different things. We lived in the same building during the pandemic, so we did a lot of stuff together. And but there was also other guys too, Clement Diop, our goalie, Lamar Sajic, a bunch of guys that kind of lived in our building that we kind of all started to hang out and kind of vibe with. So it was I wouldn't say easy transition, but it was a good transition, and they made it a lot easier for sure.
Good to hear.
Yeah. And this is my final rapid fire question for you. So what are 3 words to define you?
I would say confident, humble sometimes. I try, and that's what I'm working towards for sure, just humility in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say respectful. I think for me, if I know you, we have a good relationship, and you're just an overall nice person, that respect's going to be given until you basically lose it, right? So for me, it's just always, I don't think, yes, in some scenarios you have to earn your respect, but a lot of the times, I think that should be given right up front, and then give that person the benefit of the doubt. And if they keep that respect and that same respect back, then things are good. But if they do something to lose it, then they lose it then, right? So I would say, yeah, respectful, confident, and humble.
Yeah, I like those, and I see those in you.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciated this chat. I know we went a little over, but I really enjoyed all this time talking with you. You had some really interesting answers, and I'm sure fans of your club and just fans of soccer alike will love this interview with you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for reaching out. I had fun talking to you guys about football, and keep doing your guys' thing too. And I hope to see you guys maybe in the future at a game or two, or hopefully we can get back to some fans in the stadium soon. And whenever you guys want to, come to a game, or if we're ever in the same city, let me know, and and we can kind of sort that out later. But thank you for this. I appreciate it, and all the best to you guys this year.
Yeah, thank you so much again.
Yeah, and same to you. Good luck in the rest of the season, and yeah, we'd love to catch a game in Montreal. Hopefully, you guys can play in front of those fans.
Yeah, let's hope. I mean, it's maybe at the close to the end of this year, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see, and hopefully, we'll get fans in the stands like sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. All right, guys, thank you so much. And,
thank you.
Have a good rest of your day.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you too.
Bye,
Thanks.
Ciao.